we've got some blue tack. So we'll roughly stack a few pieces on the actual bearing here. I'll put an O-ring in there just so the bearing's held back. And we'll dummy fit the gearbox, and we'll just measure the gap and see when that's fully back. What our measurement is, it should be somewhere around that 17mm mark. We'll go through the side of the bell housing here with the inspection camera, and just to confirm, so there, excuse the shake, so you can see the fingers there on the right, and the bearing is way back there on the left, you can just see. Okay, here's the two bearings. As you can see, this one's had the spring removed. That is as low as it'll go. And this one is our new one, and you can see it's simulating a foot on clutch, and this is simulating foot off clutch. So we'll measure these up. So this one here, this is roughly 35mm, let's say. And this one here, it's about 56. So if we do some maths, we've got 56 minus 35, so that gives us roughly, this is in a perfect world using all the stroke from the actual bottom to the top of that slave, which it probably won't happen because our slave probably won't retract back this far. It definitely wouldn't if we put the clutch in as it is now. So even if perfect world conditions, we could utilize all that stroke of the clutch, we'd only have 21mm of travel. So that is all the hydraulics will let us travel. Now, here, this drawing is not very good, but it will hopefully explain something. So this here is our clutch, and this here is our clutch fingers. So this part just here is our bearing. So this bearing here can only travel 21mm. It can go 21mm pretty much back and forward, and that's, say it's 0 point. So that bearing is there, that's out at the moment, so it goes in 21mm. Now our problem is, from the face of this bearing, this guy here, that rotates, to our actual clutch fingers is 17mm. So that means we've got to travel this guy from a rest position. We've got to come out. Oh, these O-rings are on there. I'll just pop those off. So, okay. So now here's our clutch, say for example. The gap between the clutch fingers and this bearing is 17mm. So we've got to use 17mm of this stroke to even get to the clutch. And that allows us, say we could use this 21mm of total stroke, that means we have 4mm left to actually depress the clutch plate. So 4mm, it may be okay when it's new, but as it wears, even when it's new, it may be questionable. So, you know, we don't have 21mm to only utilize 4. That's not right. So we're not going to change the actual total stroke of the clutch. We're just going to move this. So if we move this closer and reduce our 17mm figure from here, edge of the bearing to the fingers, you know, say for example we put a 10mm spacer in there, all of a sudden we have 7mm. So we have 14mm of actual usable travel. So we could modulate the clutch better. The clutch probably have lower chance of getting stuck to the floor, which they can get after a little while with non-self-adjusting clutches. So this is the plan. We will make a spacer and we'll essentially push this whole slave cylinder away from the gearbox. So we're going to, instead of being here, it's going to be out here, and that hopefully will give us a longer clutch life, a better clutch pedal feel, and we're not going to run out of stroke of the bearing. You know, in a perfect world, we don't want to be out here too far, because who knows how the clutch will wear. It's a brass button clutch. The wear limit from maximum to minimum is quite low. Apparently they're very low wearing according to TTV. So we will get this drawn up and we'll get something cut, and we'll then put the gearbox back on the engine and we'll measure again. So that's how the bearing will look with its spacer. And the next issue is it's actually offset. So I don't want to risk damaging the actual clutch feed pipe. So what I'll do is I'm going to machine here, just move this over, and I'll put a plate here just so it sits all true and concentric, so we don't actually damage that feed pipe. You can see just in there. Alright, that's in. Just a bit of a view of what it looks like. So if we put this guy just here, we can actually rotate this, and this, once the slaves type, yeah, we can't, and rotate a little, but we'll still be able to this sort of this final look.